Here it is. Today's episode of the Bill Simmons Podcast and the Ringer Podcast Network is brought to you by SeatGeek, our presenting sponsor. Buy and sell tickets in 2 taps on your phone. Everything fully guaranteed. Football fans, $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase on NFL tickets. Use promo code BSNFL. Download the SeatGeek app or go right to SeatGeek.com. I can't wait to get the promo code for NBA because that's coming. That's what we're talking about today. We're also brought to you by Proper Cloth, where you can easily create a custom shirt size in seconds by just answering 10 simple questions. Choose from over 20 collar styles, 10 cuff styles, 500 fabrics, from classic to business, to customize your shirt that you want completely. You can do it all. Stop wearing shirts that don't fit. Start looking your best with a custom fitted shirt. Go to propercloth.com/BS today. Enter gift code BS to save $20 on your first shirt. We're also brought to you by TheRinger.com. That's where I write my column every Friday during the NFL season, mailbag picks, a whole bunch of other stuff. I'll also have some NBA stuff during this season. Speaking of the NBA, Kevin O'Connor is here. He's on the Ringer NBA show. Yeah. He writes for the Ringer. Jason Concepcion is here.
Let's go.
Formerly of Binge Mode, now defunct, on hiatus. Rumors of a comeback. Rumors of a comeback. Rumors swirling. And also the achievement-oriented video game podcast. And then Joe House, the host of the Runaway Smash Hit podcast Success.
Check House!
No,
wait a minute. The other one. The other top hit. House. Oh. Cars.
There you go. If you went, House, Jason, and I did over-unders for the East, which you can hear. We'll be putting it up simultaneously with this podcast on the Ringer NBA show. It is not available on the BS podcast. That's it. You don't get to hear us talk about the Knicks. You don't get to hear us talk about the Celtics. You don't get to hear us talk about Markelle Fultz. Some controversial comments about Markelle Fultz.
Is it okay?
Semi-controversial?
Come on.
Leave Markelle alone.
No, we're just listening.
Me and Markelle are going for Chick-fil-A on House of Carbs.
We had an honest conversation about Markelle Fultz and a whole bunch of other stuff. You can hear that on the Ringer NFL show. Right now, we are doing the West, the most fascinating conference of the two by far, coming up. But first, Pearl Jam. All right. We're going to go from lowest win total for over-unders to highest win total of over-unders. Kevin O'Connor, he's such an innocent kid from Massachusetts. He's never gambled. He doesn't drink. He's like a baby. I feel bad corrupting him, House. No, I'm exaggerating, but I feel bad corrupting him.
I know.
Yeah.
Teach him
tattoo
gambling.
on his neck soon.
Yeah. Neck tattoo.
We're bringing him right on down to the zipper zone.
That's it.
Yeah, you missed in the Eastern one, which I don't want to spoil, but I asked House a question about a possible Wizards trade, and he created the zipper zone.
It came out.
That's all I'll say. Sacramento has the lowest over-under of anyone in the Western Conference, which surprised me because they are not, I don't think, as much of a tanking candidate as a couple other teams we're going to mention. They added more people than I think any team has added other than maybe the Celtics. But I mean, De'Aaron Fox, Bogdan Bogdanovic, not Bojan Bogdanovic, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Justin Jackson, George Hill, 36-year-old Zach Randolph,
love it,
45-year-old Vince Carter, no ACL Harry Giles. All of these guys are better than the guys they lost. Darren Collison, Langston Galloway, Rudy Gay, Ty Lawson, Ben McLemore, Aaron Aflalo, Anthony Tolliver. They're definitely better. I don't think there's any question. Crunch time. Cauley Stein, Zebo, Bogdanovic, Buddy Hield, either George Hill or Fox. 27.5 seems low. What do you think, KOC?
I'm over all the way. They won 32 last year, and I know they had Boogie.
Yeah, why are they 5 games worse?
They had
just because of the conference?
Yeah, it's only because of the conference. I think their team has a good mixture of youth and veterans, and they're not going to tank.
They're not going to tank. Can we all agree they're not going to tank?
They're not going to tank.
What do you think, Jason?
They're not. I love De'Aaron Fox. I love him. And yeah, I agree with everything he said. This is a nice mix of youth and veteran guys who kind of know how to win. They've got more talent than they had last year. They won 32 games last year.
But the conference is better.
And the conference is better. Yeah, but I still think they win more than 27 games.
And House, we don't think this team tanks.
No, I love this team. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. I call this team the old folks home because
The
you
old
have a
folks
bunch
home.
of these vets that are getting matched up with, these young fellas who are going to come in and they're all ready to be apprentices to gain the wisdom to take. So I want to know, Zebo is going to take who under his wing? Is he going to take Giles under his wing?
Is that good or bad?
Well, which one? Which one of Zebo's?
We're going to match them up, right? We got De'Aaron Fox is going to be under the tutelage of George Hill, right?
But I meant what Zebo wing? Are we talking about like his grit and grind wing? Or are we talking about his occasionally I get involved in some giant marijuana story that they eventually drop the charges
I
wing?
think
What
it's
wing is
important-
it?
It's important for all these guys to have a point of view on what they're going to do after the NBA. Zebo's just getting ready for his next career. I
Right.
think that might be very helpful for Harry Giles. He might be thinking about his next career.
Wow. Yeah, there you go. Oh, man, come on.
How far the mighty have
Wow.
fallen, Harry
Nice combo.
Giles.
I love
Once a
the
5-star recruit.
You love the over.
I love the over.
You
I'm
love the
banging
over.
this over. This
Okay.
is minus 125. I'm going to put some denomination that fits that. I am.
So KOC, the minus 25 means there's been action on the over. The over is popular. All of us like the over. All of this makes me nervous because
action on the over.
but all of it makes me nervous because it's the Kings. Tate, you have an opinion on this?
I like the Kings.
Okay. Tate, everyone likes the Kings. Wow. Okay. Phoenix Suns, 29 wins. They added Josh Jackson. Didn't really lose anybody. They still have a confusing team that I'm not sure what they're going for, but I know what they're going for in one way. This team's going to tank.
Oh, yeah.
This team, somebody in the West is going to look at this landscape and be like, hey, you know what we should do is just keep losing and get a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
This is the logical candidate. They also have some trade pieces potentially. I think Eric Bledsoe's a trade piece.
Yep.
Tyson Chandler's a trade piece. I don't know what to make of the 2 forwards they took last year, Chris and Bender. KFC, which one do you like more, Chris or Bender?
Oh, Chris right now.
Okay.
But at the same time, Bender is somebody we shouldn't give up on. I think just because he got off to a slow start, I think Bender long-term is a guy I'd absolutely take. But right now, you're leaning towards Chris. I think this team's really interesting because you're right. Like they could be a tanking candidate, but at the same time, like they were in the conversation for Kyrie. They were trying to add guys. So
It was more than a conversation. I think it was. I think at some point everybody got on House Party, all the GMs, and just were looking at each other and trying to decide whether to do this. And Phil Jackson couldn't figure out how to log in, and the trade fell through. And that's what happened.
I'm not laughing at that. I don't know what house party is, and I couldn't log into that
Because
either.
you're Phil Jackson's demo. Yeah. So
It's just stoners who eat.
that right. The irony of the Phoenix is if they're in the East, I don't even know if they're one of the worst 5 teams. And maybe they don't decide to tank at that point because they do have talent.
yeah. They got a nice young team.
What do you buy? Booker and Wiggins are the 2 most polarizing advanced metric guys. There's cases to be made that both of those guys are actually not stars and that they hurt their teams as much as they help them. Do you buy this?
No, because these guys are like 21, 22 years old. And you're expecting them to be what they're going to be when they're 28. So
Right.
like Wiggins, because he was the number 1 pick, because he was overhyped out of high school, everybody expected him to be a superstar right off the bat, when in actuality, he was a guy that needed years of development to add to his game. And it's the same thing with Devin Booker. Like Coach Cal said earlier this year, I forget when this was, but he mentioned how Devin Booker barely ever ran pick and roll at Kentucky. And now it's like his main play type. So obviously he needs time to develop that.
Would you trade Bledsoe as soon as possible just to turn the team over now?
Yeah, I think I don't know if Booker's your point guard, but I'd like to see him get even more reps as a playmaker to really develop him in that area.
House, what do you think of this team?
I like them for the under, but I agree that they're interesting. I think I found myself enjoying watching them.
Yeah, I think they're a fun
yeah.
garbage time, West Coast, League Pass.
Exactly.
1 o'clock at night, East Coast time, when you've fallen asleep for 3 hours and you wake up because your stomach hurts because
That's
you had
me.
2 meals.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Phoenix is on. You're like, hey, Phoenix is on.
Right, exactly.
Like, I think the Phoenix LA games could be some of the sneaky best West Coast entertainment we're going to have this year.
Agreed.
I mean,
Booker against Lonzo?
Booker is a threat to go for 60 at any given time
And give up 70?
and give up 70 and have it be like the worst looking 60-point game like you've ever seen. And they have guys that can dunk, so that's exciting. Obviously, you hope Bledsoe is healthy. He plays like a boulder rolling down a hill.
Yeah.
They're fun to watch. They're not good, but they're fun to watch.
Josh Jackson? Does he start? Does he
Depends
play
on-
35 minutes a game?
I don't know. After they gave the money to TJ Warren, he's probably starting.
What do we think of that? That was a lot of money for TJ Warren. That made me do a double take.
Daddy like TJ Warren.
I like him too. I like him too.
That's the
but
zipper. That's the zipper
He's
thing.
shown
You hear it
major
happening.
flashes, like where
But $50 million worth of flashes?
I mean,
in a league where the cap is going backwards?
No, he hasn't shown $50 million dollars worth of flashes, but you're paying for projected future performance.
Yeah, potential.
And you might have just played yourself by giving him that, but at the same time, maybe that deal looks pretty damn good if he does kind of develop his scoring and his consistency like he did show in the past.
Yeah, people gave Steph Curry's deal a hard time because he couldn't keep those ankles healthy.
Yeah.
And then everybody looked like, God damn, that Steph Curry deal was pretty good.
Yep.
That is like the all-time best case scenario for this conversation.
I'm just saying.
Don't compare TJ Warren to Steph Curry.
It's a deal.
Are we all going under for this?
Yes.
Yes.
Under.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
But it'll be close.
I feel bad
like
for the
28.
Suns.
I agree.
I think they're going to be in a dangerous spot because you missed when we covered the East, but there's at least 3 teams, maybe 4 in the East that are going to just abandon ship and are going to be below 25 wins. So if you're Phoenix, at some point you're going to hit a point where it's like, does it even make sense to tank? You're going to be probably 5 or 6 anyway. So we'll see. The Lakers, I can't wait to have this conversation.
I'm very excited.
You know
about
what?
the Lakers.
You know what? Let's hold the Lakers.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going to
wow.
hold the Lakers to the end.
how about that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm more excited to talk about the Lakers than any other team in this list. Dallas, over, under, 35 and a half. It seemed low. I was confused by it. Then I looked at the West. I looked at the West some more. I looked at Dallas's bench. Dallas goes Noel, Dirk, Barnes, Matthews, Dennis Smith Jr., would I assume is their crunch time. The bench falls off. The bench has Seth Curry. It's got Josh McRoberts, Tate's Charlotte MVP from 4 years ago, who hasn't really done anything since. JJ Barea, and then a bunch of ifs, whats, maybes, who knows. And that's what's going to kill them more than anything because Dirk is he 40 this year officially? 39,
Something
40?
like that.
This is like
One of
this
those.
is year 20 for him.
Yeah.
It's one of those teams I like the top 5, but I find it hard to imagine everybody staying healthy, and I could see more going wrong than right. KOC, what do you think?
So I have under for them right now.
Yeah.
But I don't feel great about that because I like their bench a little bit more than you do.
Okay.
none
What do
of
you
the-
like on it?
I mean, you have Nerlens Noel coming off your bench. I mean, first of all,
Wait, are we sure he's not starting?
I don't think he's going to be starting.
Why wouldn't they start Nerlens Noel? Because I saw
'cause-
that on the depth chart that he wasn't starting. I thought it was a mistake.
Yeah, I am pretty sure Noel will be coming off the bench. So you have your versatile big man. I think Seth Curry, spark plug, not great, but a spark plug. Dorian Finney-Smith, versatile defender. I like Dwight Powell, another
you're really
guy who
digging
can do
deep
some
now.
things. So it's like,
Come on,
they,
KOC.
they have some good talent, but I'm still
KOC,
taking the
we're
under because they're
recording
so
this.
young. If you're taking the over, you're relying on Dennis Smith to really be spectacular right away.
They're better off. Dirk plays 45 games, misses 2 months, comes back for 10 games for the retirement tour at the end. Maybe they're able to trade Barnes or Matthews. They're better off. It's more logical for them to go down than up and to try to be like, oh man, we have a chance to get the 8 seed and get destroyed in round 1.
I agree with that.
I would just give the car keys to Dennis Smith, let him hit a couple pylons, let him hit a couple highway dividers, let him flip the car a couple times. Just let him do it. Jason, what do you think?
I think it's under 2. That said, Rick Carlisle, not a noted lover of young guys.
Yeah. Which could be bad for Dennis Smith.
Could be bad for Dennis Smith, which is, as KOC mentioned, that's the guy they really need to be the guy who explodes. All these other guys are known quantities. I mean, except for Noel, who's going to be motivated after giving up a ton of money.
Ooh.
But
I'm trying to think of scenarios where that's worked in the NBA, where the guy thought he was going to make
Dion?
a crazy amount of money.
Waiters.
But Dion had no offers.
Yeah, that's the
Noel
thing.
went into last
Right.
summer
Yeah,
thinking
that's
he
the
was going to make
difference.
$85 million, and
Yeah.
there was no offer.
Didn't we all in some way?
Yeah. I'm
Last year at this
shocked by
time,
it.
when the rumors were out, it's like, well, you're going to want to pay Nerlens Noel $20 million.
Yeah.
And it's like, nobody was giving that.
the answer is no.
Yeah, so I got a soft under on this.
The Knicks fans, we talked about this on the Eastern Conference pod. At what point does the Frankie Nicotine versus Dennis Smith thing just start haunting them? Like December 15th?
I mean, I like Frankie Nicotine. I feel like more than a lot of
This
people
is great
do.
for you, Jason.
I like Frankie. I put him on like the rookie dark horses.
I love this.
list. I think.
Thank you,
Great.
Look,
KOC.
just because we haven't seen him this summer doesn't mean that he's not a quality prospect.
over.
There you go.
That's right.
That's good. I went under on the Knicks.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going under on Dallas. All due respect to Rick Carlisle. All
Yeah.
due respect to Dirk Nowitzki. But look, there's 15 teams in this conference, and 11 of them have a chance to be at least good. So, got to be concerned. This is a team that it's kind of made me sad. Memphis. We're all going under on Dallas, by the way.
Yeah.
Memphis, 37.5 over under.
I can't.
They lost all of Grit and Grind. They lost Zebo and Tony Allen.
I feel like I can't smash the under button fast enough for
Okay.
this team.
Let's hear the argument.
I mean, listen, they lost Grit and Grind, so they have no identity. What is this team going to be next year? Will he ever play again? Conley and Gasol are great. Gasol obviously coming off injury. I just have no idea what this team is. Tyreek Evans is like on his third go round trying to be a point guard
Let's
in the
cross
NBA.
him off.
Like Matt
Right
Lamar.
now,
I just don't know what this team is at all.
It seems Wayne Selden might be their starting two guard. Is
Yeah,
that
it's
possible?
just really
I kept looking at
strange
their
team.
roster trying to.
Tyreek Evans.
that's great.
Well, that's worse. I read Wayne Selden at least maybe. I'm with you, Jason. I don't see it. I think if anything, you throw in the combination of how tough the conference is,
Yeah.
the injury factor, and let's be honest, the trade factor.
Yeah.
This is another logical trade candidate if things are going wrong and they're heading the wrong way, and you have to have an honest conversation. Like, we can't make this team better. We're hampered by the salary cap. We have an owner who either has to sell the team or double down, put more money
Right.
into it, and buy out the minority partners.
And is one of
What
the
do we
weirdest
do?
owners in the league.
Yeah. I don't know what the trade is because Conley makes so much money, it would be hard to trade him, but Mike Conley's fantastic, and if that's a chess piece that's out there, people are going to pay for him. Same thing for Gasol. I think he's got real value. They also have a situation with their pick where the Celtics eventually get their unprotected pick. They got to figure out that part of this too. I don't see any way you can go over for them as much
I'm
as I
going
respect
over.
Gasol. You're going over?
I'm going over.
Give me the case.
What if they're better without Zach Randolph and better without Tony Allen?
Make the case.
Two guys who can't space the floor effectively. What if they're better with having a guy like JaMychal Green space the floor from 3-point range at the 4?
Okay.
I think there's a possibility that opens the floor more and helps enhance Mike Conley's game. Chandler Parsons, if he stays healthy, and that's a super big if, but if he's able to play even just 40 games, if Parsons back and he's effective in those games, that could be good for them to have more floor spacing. I'm not the biggest grit and grind fan. There's a reason why they got bounced in the playoffs every year, and it's because they couldn't space the floor.
Wow.
I'm over on the Grizzlies, but not by a lot.
My favorite part of that whole thing was when you said Chandler Parsons might play 40 games.
Here's the thing. Have you been Chandler Parsons? I'm concerned. He's been on Instagram in the past few weeks, screenshotting his DMs from various groupies, which is
He seems
troubling.
like he's. I gotta
That's
say,
troubling.
He seems like he's lost his mind.
I'm
He's not
troubled.
behaving in a rational way as a public figure.
I am legitimately troubled by that.
And he's sliding in on Instagram Live of models and whatnot. He's saying show tits.
It is really,
come on, dude, are
really
you serious?
troubling. Really troubling performance
Yeah,
by Chandler
it's,
Parsons.
I think
It
they
is
can
worrisome.
tread water and potentially be close to 500 for the first 3 months. But then at some point they're going to have a come to Jesus moment and decide what they want to do with Conley and Gasol.
I think they had that come to Jesus moment leading into this offseason, and that's why all of these guys that they let go, and they're in a mode for rebranding, redefining themselves, and I think they're a perfect candidate to take advantage of this last year of the tank and try and build a young core around some of the players that KOC mentioned.
Do we think you can be a championship contender anymore if Gasol and Conley are your top two guys?
No.
So if I'm starting there, as much as I like both of those guys, and I can't make round 3 if they're my top 2, I'm going the other way. I'm
But
trading them.
what makes us think this team is going to blow it up when they gave over $20 million annually to Chandler Parsons? I mean, when we knew that was a risky deal to take, I think they're
That was
probably
more
a team,
than risky. That was
It was
They kind of lost their minds. I don't understand why they did that.
Every team in the league does something colossally stupid like that.
The red flag for that was that Mark Cuban didn't want to pay him. If Mark Cuban doesn't want to pay Chandler Parsons, run.
He didn't need round two.
Mark Cuban's like, I'm good. Go get your money. Like, if I'm Memphis, I'm running from that. All right, so everybody's going under, but KOC on that. New Orleans is next. New Orleans is 39.5.
Oof.
New Orleans added Tony Allen. They added Rajon Rondo.
Oh.
Ian Clark.
Yeah.
Frank Jackson. They lost Tim Frazier. They have, I would say, a top 3 strangest roster to look at, where you have Boogie and Anthony Davis, who probably shouldn't be on the same team. And then 2 point guards, Holiday and Rondo. Rondo can't shoot. Holiday can't stay on the court. And then a bunch of dudes.
Rondo's been better shooting in recent years, though. I mean, ever since he was traded by Boston, he's shooting like 38% from 3. I mean,
it's not like he's jacking threes. They're wide open.
Yeah, of course. But it's better than what he was doing in the past.
I love KOC still rides for Rondo.
I love
it.
He was one of my all-time favorites
for all these
when
years.
He was at the top of his game.
The Ringer's Tommy Alter, too, in the office yesterday, says, if Rondo doesn't get hurt, we beat the Celtics in 5. Like it's fact. Just adamant about it. He's like, Rondo's still good. We beat the Celtics in 5.
Rondo sucks now.
Okay. I don't see how this team succeeds. And I don't see a path for keeping Boogie either. And it feels like a Boogie trade waiting to happen. Let's reenact the zipper moment from the Eastern Conference podcast. I asked House, is there an Otto Porter and an unprotected pick down the road and something else, and maybe Gortat's in there or whatever, and you get Boogie back? And House started pulling his pants down.
I offered up some other things unprotected.
Yeah,
I was very enthusiastic for that deal.
The theory is, if the Wizards can just end up with Beal, Wall, and Boogie, who cares?
Yeah,
you'll figure out the rest later. But if that's your core, you can compete for the title with those 3 guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
sign me up if I'm the Wizards.
Is Boogie on this team in March?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I think so. Just because if you're the Pelicans and you trade Boogie, what are you saying to Anthony Davis? I mean, then you're setting yourself up to have to move him. I think you kind of have to stick it out.
I would trade both of them.
I mean, I would too.
I just don't think there's any path to contending with Davis before his contract's up, and you've already messed it up. And I am never an advocate of trade one of the best 8 guys in the league. I think it's usually a mistake. In this case, we've seen too many times now these guys fleeing for greener pastures as soon as they can, and there's no path to compete with him. So really, they should be doing this now. They won't. Their ownership's a disaster, but it's too bad. I actually think. Do you think they would do the Boogie trade over again if they could do that over again?
No, I think they'd still do it. I just think because
what do you think, House?
I agree. It was a worthwhile experiment for them to find out, because what if it worked?
Yeah,
and it could.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox or DeMarcus Cousins for 4 times the money?
I mean. They would have been the 10th pick, so it wouldn't have been Fox.
Good point.
So
it would have been, who was 10th? That was the Zach Collins trade down.
So it's like whoever they would have taken in that slot. Maybe it would have been Monk, or maybe
but
it would
Boogie might have made them better. Maybe they fall to
yeah.
like the 12th pick.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
maybe that's like Buddy and Luke Kennard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they still make it. You guys are right. You going over under? 39.5.
I'm an under on them. I don't think it's going to work, but I really am rooting for it to work. I want to see 2 dominant bigs.
Jason? I'm going to go slight under. I think they improved from last year, but I see them at like 37 wins.
House?
It is an execrable. I mispronounced
it.
Execrable?
Sure.
Execrable backcourt. And as a result, I am taking the under.
The Drew Holiday situation's tough because if you don't pay him,
right,
you're basically waving both middle fingers at those guys. Yep. And yet, Drew Holiday, we've argued about him in the past on the pod. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's one of the best 15-point guards. I don't think he can stay in the court. I think the league really undervalues their ability. And we saw the same thing with Gallinari, where it's like, great, Gallinari, I like Gallinari. He can't stay in the court. He misses 25 games a year. And you're paying him $20 million. And it's like, when he's out there, it seems like a good idea. And then when he's in street clothes, it seems like a terrible idea. And I think Drew Holiday's like that.
Yeah. Well, I think for the Pelicans, it's like a situation where, if you're in the desert and you need a drink of water, you'll pay whatever you have to pay for it. Who was going to play point guard for them? They had to pay him.
Well, he's right there. His name's Rajon
But
Rondo.
that's like what I'm saying. Like they had to pay him. They had to pay him.
Well, we're all going under.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break to talk about Gillette. Did you know the tip of a Gillette razor blade measured on an atomic scale, meaning their blade edges are thinner than a single brain cell? That precision, the work of many brain cells. Hundreds of members of Gillette's research and development team have spent over 4,700 years combined working to make your shave closer and more comfortable. 4,700 years combined.
It's a lot.
There's some sort of Knicks playoff joke in there. I don't know what it is. While over 1,000 craftsmen and women in Boston are busy making your blades, another team is putting your blades through more than 60 extremely strict and precise quality checks. Fail one of those tests that doesn't leave the factory. They are doing everything they can to make your blades better every single day. Now that includes the price tag. You can get Gillette blades at their lowest prices in years. See for yourself at GilletteOnDemand.com. House. Gillette is the best a man can get.
Nice.
Pricing applies to select products and is at sole discretion of the retailer. All right. Well, the good teams have arrived. I'm calling Utah a good team. 41 wins is the over-under. There's been some action on the over. The over is up to minus 130. They lost Gordon Hayward. They lost George Hill, who I'm not even sure how much that hurt them since he tailed off as the year went along. They lost Fat Boris, who just was really bad for them last year. And I think they were disappointed in him. And then Trey Lyles, who never made it. They added Ricky Rubio, who I've always liked. I like him on that team. I like him with some of the guys on that team, because I think it's a smart basketball team, guys who know where to go and what to do. Donovan Mitchell, who KOC loved heading into the draft.
Love him.
And looks like he's going to be a guy who plays right away. They added Jerebko from the Celtics, who, is somebody who can't play for 10 games, and then all of a sudden he's in there and he's making threes and TNT on Thursday nights. Seth Falosha, good defender. Tony Bradley. 41 seems low to me. This is the first one where I was just surprised. I think I would say they have a better chance of grabbing the 8th spot than Portland does. I'm going over.
I'm also going over like 43. They play at altitude. They're still going to be a very good defensive team. Rubio's a great defender. They're going to grind people down, and they're going to win more than 41 games.
There's a defensive lineup they can play with Rubio, Mitchell, Favors if he can stay in the court, Gobert, Cephalosha, like that. This team will be able to get stops if they need to. Yeah. I actually kind of like the team. I think there's some Ewing theory potential with Gordon Hayward.
I agree.
I got to be honest. Like, what the hell they win with Gordon Hayward? Nothing.
Plus, I think Snyder's a good coach, and I think the collective effect on the remaining guys of getting to the playoffs and getting that taste and competing at that level, you can't understate or undervalue what a transformation that can kind of deliver to the remaining core. And they all have now this something to prove thing. So I like the over here as well.
KSC?
When I was going through the teams before this, I never expected all of us would be over on this team because I'm over. I thought I would be like maybe one of the two that would, because people, like, granted they lost Hayward, Rodney Hood can step up. I mean, if you look at his numbers with Hayward off the floor, like per 36, they line right up with Hayward's numbers and his that he put up last season. So not saying he'll do that, but Hood has the ability to elevate his role to really take on some of the scoring that they're losing from Hayward, and then add on the other young guys they have, the ability to play different roles. They're easy.
I also think Rubio is just a flat out upgrade from George Hill. I like Rubio. He's definitely better
George
defensively.
Hill was awesome the first 30 games. Like he was making a case for the All-Star game.
Yeah, but then what happened?
His toe. He had a George Hill
always
toe.
seems to get hurt. I don't think they were very unhappy to see him leave either. Was the feedback I was hearing. But one of the things they learned last year, especially in the playoffs, is that Joe Ingles is a starter and is a good basketball player and should probably play more. And now he'll get to play more. So I look at the Hayward thing, and I think Hayward's an excellent basketball player. I really do. They can replace his maybe 80% of his numbers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not like a Paul George thing where, and I actually think Indiana will be able to recover from the Paul George thing a little bit too. But Paul George is just like, wow, we have to replace 23 shots. How are we going to do this? Who are we giving these to? With Utah, Hayward wasn't taking 25 shots a game anyway. And, Hood to me is, you mentioned him earlier. I like him. I also think he just disappears. You know,
he is injured.
He's one of those guys who's
Yeah.
either in the game or it's like, where is he? Did he play? Did he show up in the arena? He's just not there.
I think that's a function, though, of that team. Like last season, they were so loaded. They were like 11 deep, it felt like to me. So I understood why Hood,
They got ISO Joe's back for another year, too.
I think that's fine.
I liked how Gobert handled the Hayward thing. I like that he was pissed off about it and took it personally and went right at him. And it does seem like Gobert seems to believe he's way up there. But I think this is a good team. I'm confused by the over. I don't like the Clippers are almost 3 wins higher than them, and I don't understand that at all. I'm going over, and probably going to be a lock for me. Portland 42.5. They lost Allen Crabbe. They lost Festus Ezeli, who I'm not even sure they had. Zach Collins, they traded up, got him, but he's buried behind all these dudes. Swanigan, Mark Titus fan club president of Swanigan, he's there. Look. A lot of it depends on Nurkic, and if that was...
It all depends on Nurkic.
Well, whether that was legit or not. The post-Denver trade, he was a legit, above-average, borderline all-star starting center, and I don't know whether I believe it or not. What do you think, Casey?
He lost 34 pounds, but he's coming off a major injury. Obviously, it was dominant end of the season, but I'm still scared after his years in Denver, where it was just pure laziness on the court. I think Nurkic could be great, and if he's great, they'll be great. But if Nurkic is bad, they're definitely an under. And I kind of lean towards Nurkic kind of slow start coming back from that injury. I worry.
House?
I'm right there with KOC. I'm going to take a slight under on them. I'm sorry to Portland. I've been taking the over many years in a row for Portland. This is my under year.
I'm going to take the slight over. I think it is going to be a slow start for Nurkic. That said, the thing in Denver was really just he got stuck behind Jokic and then he lost his focus. And here he's going to be inspired to play really hard, especially coming off the injury and being such an important part of that run they made last year. So I'm going to take the slight over. I think they win 43 games.
It feels like a 41-41 season to me, which I think they had either last year or the year before.
Yeah, it's 41.
They also seem to me like a trade. This seems like a trade team to me. They have too many front court guys. Evan Turner didn't fit in last year with what they had as a big salary. It has some years left, but it does seem like you take him and you take somebody else's expensive mistake, one of those things. I don't think they have enough shooting other than the two guards, which McCollum and Lillard have great shooting.
That's a lot of shooting.
But putting people around them, I don't like the mix of people they have to put around them, I guess is my point. So it feels like a trade.
Yeah, someone like Anthony Morrow is going to have to play a lot to space
Who
the
hasn't
floor.
been good in 5 years.
Exactly.
I just don't see it.
And if they don't have spacing from their front court, it could hurt their back court's ability to get to the rim.
It's interesting. In the Golden State series, they went toe-to-toe with the Warriors in that one game when those two guys were going at the same time. They have the potential to be the upset team night to night, but I don't see them winning more than 41. Not in the West. I would be more likely to me that they would go the other way and make a trade. I also think it hurts to lose Crabbe. I like Crabbe. I don't think he's an all-star, but he's a good shooter who I think, it's hard to find those
important
dudes.
for them.
Yeah.
Space the floor.
They've mismanaged the salary cap. It's funny, some of these teams have made terrible trades and then good trades after the fact, right? Like Neil O'Shea, like the Turner contract was awful.
Right.
But then the Nurkic trade was great, And I actually liked trading up. I thought he took the wrong guy. I would have taken Monk. But I thought anytime you can trade 15 and 20 for 10, you would have loved that trade more if they took Mitchell or Monk.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, like if you're drafting by need, they already have two dominant guards. But it doesn't hurt to have a third one, though, either.
Yeah. Let's talk about Blinkist really quickly. The world's most successful people all have one thing in common. They are hungry for knowledge, reading and learning every chance they get. Since you're listening to this podcast, you probably feel the same way. Introducing the Blinkist app. Over 2,000 best-selling nonfiction books transformed into powerful packs you can read or listen to. In just 15 minutes, learn essential ideas from the best books in your field or subjects you never knew you loved. With Blinkist, you can feast your mind on key ideas from best-selling nonfiction books like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The 4-Hour Work, Thinking Fast and Slow, all on your way home. More knowledge, less time. Not to mention they are constantly adding new titles from best of lists. You're always getting the most powerful ideas in a convenient made-for-mobile format. I wonder if Shea Serrano's new book is going to be on Blinkist. So much info. I don't know how you'd condense it to 15 minutes. Right now, Blinkist has a special offer just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/BS. Get a free trial or 3 months off your yearly plan when you join today. That is BLINKIST. Blinkist.com/BS. Start your free trial or get 3 months off your yearly plan. All righty. The Clippers. 43 and a half wins is either ridiculously low or ridiculously high, and I can't decide. I stared at this for a while. They got rid of basically most of their team. Everybody's gone. Chris Paul, JJ Redick, Jamal Crawford, Raymond Felton. We'll never have to watch Jamal Crawford play with Austin Rivers again. They had a Gallinari, Teodosic, who's already winning the internet, Pat Beverly, Lou Williams, Sam Decker. Could argue it's a better team on paper, other than the fact that they lost one of the best point guards of all time. Blake Griffin, everyone thought he wasn't going to be back till December, including me. He's back already. He's playing.
Back.
43 and a half seems low. And yet, I almost want you guys to talk me into it one way or the other. I can't decide. House, you go first.
I'm taking the under by
Wow.
half a game.
Okay.
I think the Clippers are a 43-win team.
That's exactly how I was feeling.
I mean,
They feel like a 43 and 39 team.
Right,
But
yeah.
when like Gallinari and Blake and everybody's healthy at the same time, they'll go like 20 and 8.
See, I'm
then guys will
prepared
start getting hurt
to
again.
be mad at myself for this. I'm prepared to acknowledge that I'm a big dummy for going this way, because I do like very much what Pat Beverly is bringing to this team,
Yeah.
and he's so motivated. I love Shea Serrano's piece with Pat of a week ago or so, and this team could go out and win 50. Like, they have 50-win talent.
I agree.
But
I would say they have 52 win potential.
Here's the limiting factor, and I don't think they can fire him quick enough. It's Doc. And I think Doc's going to hold him back, and I think they're going to be a 43-win team as a result of Doc.
And Doc having to manage all these new guys.
That's it. I don't believe in Doc.
You have Lou Williams and you have Rivers.
They're going to move the ball this year, though, guys.
They were moving it the other night.
They were moving it.
They were moving it.
I'm gonna
Jason?
I'm gonna go over. I mean,
Okay.
I agree with you on paper. This is a way deeper team than they've had in the past. Gallinari feels it's ironic to finally get the 3 they were looking for when like Chris Paul leaves. I love Teodosic off the bench. He's 30, looks 45, and and passes it like he has just no regard for anything that's going on. He eats cheeseburgers for breakfast.
My kind of guy.
There's,
Love it.
there's like a 20% chance he's going to smoke cigs at halftime.
I think it's like an 85% chance. Beverly Lou Williams that's great.
He might smoke cigarettes and have a milkshake at halftime. Like whatever the 3 things you shouldn't do, he'll probably do.
Teodosic, you're welcome on House of Carbs anytime.
I mean, the thing you really worry about is Griffin's health. You know, and I like this team to win 45 games.
KOC.
Over.
Okay.
I think, yes, injury risks is very real with them. The amount of games Blake Griffin, Gallinari, and Patrick Beverly even have missed over the past 3-4 years. However, the upside of this team is way too high for me to take the under at 43.5. I just think the way they moved the ball the other night was a good sign. 25 assists on 35 makes. I think this team, this is what you would have hoped for when Chris Paul was there, but you couldn't do that because he was a ball dominant, one of the greatest point guards ever. But this is how it could unlock Blake Griffin as a player. Gallinari in the system playing off Blake, Beverly in a ball movement system. I think if Doc is successfully able to install this system, which is a big question, as House mentioned, they're going to be great. So they have 2 big ifs, but I'm kind of taking the over on their first year together.
House, I'm ditching you.
It's okay.
Here's why. I think, as KOC said, the potential of them being 44 or higher is just greater than the potential of them being 43 and under.
Yeah, I my own self said they could easily be a 50-win team.
Yeah,
and then
I
took the under.
So,
So
like,
I get it. I'm right
Let's say
there with you.
Gallinari misses 20 games, Blake misses 25,
Beverly
Beverly misses 12.
Yeah.
It's still probably like a 41 and 41 team. You know?
Maybe
They'll
even
still be
better.
500.
Yeah.
There's also the other reason I want to go over, just for my own sanity. Chris Paul is like the ultimate Ewing theory candidate that's probably ever existed in the NBA in the last 12 years. Like I mentioned Hayward earlier, but Hayward's not really. Like, Chris Paul is considered to be a superstar.
Yeah.
He's the point guard.
Yep.
He is somebody that gets mentioned anytime we talk about the best point guards of all time.
Right.
and has just failed repeating the playoffs. We've written about it on The Ringer. We've come up with explanations for it. And the fact that he's so efficient, it actually hurts him in the playoffs. He's so ball dominant that it becomes predictable in the playoffs. We've laid out, you can read all the pieces. Maybe with Beverly, like somebody like Blake Griffin will be a little more motivated
More
this
of a
season.
selfless guy.
I think Blake is the X factor because, as we talked about a million times, he was the third best player in the 2015 playoffs, those first 2 rounds. He's had just 75 different things go wrong. I like when the offense runs through him. I always thought him and Chris together never really totally made sense. The question for me is, do Blake and DeAndre make sense? This is something we've looked at over and over again.
Can Blake space the floor? That's kind of really the question. And he was shooting more corner threes the other night in their first preseason game. So I think that's a good sign. If he can just spot up and shoot threes off the catch, then it can work. But the problem is if like he's only shooting like 28% from 3 and nobody's really worried about him out there, then it can be an issue.
And the other thing we should mention, he's 28 and he's had, you laid out a couple times in The Ringer, all the different injuries he's had.
It's a long list.
The history of the league is that this doesn't get better. That by age 28, 29, if you're a guy who gets injured all the time, that is who you are, and that's what is going to keep happening. And whether he has bad luck, whether his body's brittle, I don't know. But he's definitely wasn't as explosive last year, and there's a possibility it could be like you see it in football all the time. All of a sudden, Adrian Peterson isn't good anymore. It just happens.
He's tailored his game, though. I mean, I think Blake kind of gets a bad rap in the sense that early in his career, it was like, oh, this guy just dunks. That's all he does. And then as he started to increase his range, be able to take mid-range shots and then longer 2s and then even 3s, now it's like, oh, he never dunks anymore. And he's even like cleaned up like the really annoying, whiny shit that he used to do. Like he does not do that anymore. And he doesn't really get credit for it. And I think him and DeAndre, I think that partnership, personalities aside, works really well because DeAndre does all the shit that Blake doesn't want to do. Blake doesn't want to protect the rim. Blake doesn't want to rebound.
Right, sure.
That's DeAndre, and DeAndre's good at that.
That team definitely was poisoned last year.
Yeah.
It had some of the worst chemistry we've seen.
They never recovered from Game 6 against
They
Houston.
never did. They
Ever.
never
That's like
recovered.
a ghost that lives in that arena.
That's right.
I think one of Jason's points that he brought up about DeAndre does all the stuff Blake doesn't want to do. It's good because you can play that way with DeAndre Jordan, or you can take him off the floor and put Blake at the 5 and play more versatile switching screens. So like they have the ability to play for different styles, and that's another thing that I think could bode well for them this year.
Could you see a scenario where they start out like 9-10, Ballmer fires Doc, and then they finish 48-34?
That's how I lose this bet. That's
So you need them
right.
to keep Doc for the year,
Yes,
too.
that's right.
I actually think they do the opposite. I think they come out really strong as they did last year, and people are like, "Whoa, Clippers!"
Whoa,
and then
hey.
fade
Can
down
they
the
beat the
stretch.
Warriors?
And then fade down the stretch.
The one thing on DeAndre, who's feeding him all those, dive to the hole dunks?
Tio,
Milos.
yeah. Tio.
Wow, we're putting a lot on Tio now.
Boy, oh
30-year-old Tio has never been in the league.
Cheeseburger Tio is my guy, as you know, but that's a lot.
I got to say, I'm a fan of Pat Beverly. I'm excited to see him run a team. We haven't seen it the last 4 years. I don't think he'll be bad at it. I think he could be okay.
Yeah, he'll be good. I mean, I think he had some really special moments when James Harden was out of games. He stepped up and elevated his play, especially passing the ball. I think
the
Beverly
other
will
thing?
be good.
I mean, I'm the guy who voted Austin Rivers for second team all defense last year and meant it. I think he's a good defensive player. And I like him and Beverly together with DeAndre behind him. I don't know whether Doc will coach defense or whether they'll be instructed to do the right things, but I like that team. I'm going to go over. All right, Denver Nuggets. Man, who was last year's team that everybody was blowing themselves about?
Minnesota.
And that didn't go well.
Right.
And now this year it's Denver. Denver's over is 45.5. They added Paul Millsap. They lost Danilo Gallinari. They added a couple other people, Trey Lyles, Tyler Ladden. Crunch time. Jokic, Millsap, Wilson Chandler, Gary Harris, and who's your point guard, KOC?
Jameer Nelson or Emmanuel Mudiay? I mean, that's part of the equation here.
This is making his
Mudiay's looked okay in the preseason.
I mean, or
Let me just get this out here. Destination for Mike Conley.
What are you thinking?
oh,
I don't think they have enough.
They may not have enough, but that's
Well, they do have some pieces to trade. Like Fareed, he's been making $12 million a year since like 1990. But I think that he's either an expiring this year or next year, but he's a trade piece. Jamal Murray, they wouldn't even discuss with Kyrie, right? Do we believe that? I actually don't believe that. I think they would have traded for Kyrie in a second. I think Kyrie told them he didn't want to go there. But I think Hernan Gomez has trade potential.
Don't underestimate Malik Beasley. I know that's kind of a deep cut, but I like Malik Beasley a lot.
But we like the opinion. We're not looking down on you. You pull these random dudes out of your butt every year.
I think Denver. I mean, I called them a sleeper yesterday on Twitter, and apparently 45.5. That's not much of a sleeper.
Yeah, they're not really a sleeper. Yeah,
they're not much of a sleeper this year. I'm definitely an over on Denver. I think Jokic is for real. I mean, one of the best passing bigs we have in this game.
It's just uncanny.
Yeah, Millsap, good passer too, can stretch the floor. They got a versatile team that can do different things. Gary Harris is going to step up. He's gonna elevate this year. They have a lot of good players, and maybe this is the year Emmanuel Mudiay kind of takes a step forward as well.
What do we think of this team defensively? That would be my fear.
Not great.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why I'm going under, guys.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Somebody's got to lose in the West. It's all these teams can't go 49-33 and then Golden State wins 70. I just don't see it defensively. Minnesota last year, I would love that was all in. Oh, Tibbs is going to teach them. And Minnesota had real holes defensively that ruined their season. They just couldn't get stops. I don't see how this Denver team's going to get stops. Millsap's the best defender they have, but he's now in his early 30s. He might even be like, what's he, like 33, 32, 33, somewhere
like 32,
in there?
I'm pretty sure.
Gary Harris undersized. All of the point guards they have, none of those guys are going to be able to guard anyone. Jokic is not a defensive stalwart. I just don't see it. I don't think they're going to get 46 wins of defensive stops. I like them offensively. They seem like more of a fantasy team than a real team.
Harris can defend. Mudiay can defend.
Harris is 6'2", though.
Yeah.
Like, what happens when they play OKC and, I guess he would stand next to Andre Roberson.
I think Jokic is really the issue defensively. Like, he can't anchor your team, and he can't really switch on the perimeter.
Fareed sucks defensively, too.
Yeah, I mean, how much is Fareed going to play, though? I mean, I hope Hernan Gomez plays ahead of him. He should. Hernan Gomez is good.
I don't like teams. Teams make me nervous that can't defend point guards or big guys. And this team can't do either. This team can't protect the rim and can't defend point guards. So everybody else is going over? Mm-hmm. I like it. I like being a rogue under.
Wait, did I pick? I'm going to go. I would actually go slight under. I think they win 45 games.
This is a 50-50 because I'm over. I'm with KOC on this team.
Okay, great.
I just think they're going to be so efficient offensively. I just love that Millsap addition. He just hasn't. Millsap and Jokic is like, that's a really interesting experiment.
Nice.
I can't
like
wait
that
to
too.
see
Feels
that
like
one.
44 and 38.
The thing
Or
that
46 and 36.
the thing that does give me pause
is
is
a
like
dub.
this is a team that should play up tempo but doesn't really have the personnel to do it. And defensively, as you said, all Denver when they've had their best success historically played up tempo.
Move the ball.
Altitude.
Yeah.
Run guys till they can't breathe.
They need a guard. There's a
and they
guard
can't-
out there.
yeah. They can't do it.
Or it might be Jamal Murray. I mean, he's not a distributor, but he is somebody that, if you ran the offense through Jokic, could be your point guard. Jamal Murray, up or down?
Could be Mudiay.
Casey's kind of high.
I gotta see more.
I'm not the biggest fan.
He's looked okay in preseason, but I mean, he looked so bad at times last season.
Tate's making the I just smelled a fart face. Tate.
What? I was gonna say Will Barton. A lot of people, you guys haven't mentioned Will Barton.
yeah?
Yeah, we should have. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's good.
But
he's better every
Will
turner.
Barton's all right. So you could play Millsap, Chandler, Will Barton, Mudiay, Jokic.
There's a lot of question marks
we're
there.
throwing a lot of names out here, which shows their depth.
I agree
we
with
haven't
that.
even mentioned
Yeah.
Trey
Hernan
Lyles.
Gomez.
We haven't even mentioned like Darrell Arthur.
What about Hernan Gomez? We like Hernan Gomez.
Yeah, I love
I agree.
Hernan Gomez.
I
He's
agree
great.
with that, but
A lot of
I
depth.
like in terms of a talent standpoint. But you're still asking a lot. You're asking guys who are kind of question marks to step up a level.
46 isn't a big ask. That's all.
It makes me nervous that they have too much talent, because all that means to me is that 4 guys are going to be unhappy every game. Because I'd rather just have a good 8 or 9 and then 2 guys who are happy to play 10 minutes. Yeah, Will Barton is good. Maybe. No. I'm sticking with the under. I'm saying I wonder if there's a way for them to package Chandler and Fareed and other stuff and try to get one more big chess piece. But I'm still staying under. I don't think they're going to be good enough defensively. Minnesota.
Here it is.
48.5.
That's huge.
This team couldn't guard anyone last year.
Yeah. 17-game improvement. That's a historic level improvement.
Oh, I should mention Denver is plus 550 to win the Northwest. Denver plus 250 to win the Northwest.
Minnesota's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Minnesota plus 250 to win the Northwest. OKC minus 150 to win the Northwest. Minnesota's over under 48.5. They added Jimmy Butler. They added Jeff Teague. They added Jamal Crawford, who was washed 2 years ago. They added Taj Gibson. They added Justin Patton. They lost Zach LaVine, who was hurt anyway. Ricky Rubio. Hill and Caspi. They're definitely, from a talent standpoint, better. 49-33 seems high.
It's
NFW. No fucking way. What are you talking about?
17 wins
Get out of
is
here.
too much.
I gave
crazy.
Tibbs. We all got on our knees for Tibbs last season. The magical Tibbs. He's going to teach these kids how to play defense. He didn't. They're kids. They need to learn and play games and get the system and everything. And so what they did made all the sense in the world because they got guys that Tibbs is comfortable with to come in and teach these kids this system. And so all this talent that Minnesota has is finally going to be pointed in a direction that fits Tibbs' vision. But get the fuck out of here. They're not going to win 49 games this season.
I would say if they went 47 and
huge, right?
35,
Yeah, huge
that's a
success.
huge victory in a
Huge
good
success.
conference.
They could be most improved team in the league with just that amount of wins.
Right.
They could hit the under and still be the most improved.
For real.
It's too soon to win 49 for the over. Too
I
soon.
have real concerns with Wiggins too, that he's a good stats bad team guy. The defensive stuff on him last year was alarming.
That's
like,
actually
every day there was a clip of him like just letting somebody go by him.
It's a fascinating question with him because he's one of those guys where, especially early on, like he came in with a reputation of this guy's going to be a next level defender,
Yeah.
modern
Lockdown.
defender, lockdown.
He was the opposite.
And the interesting thing about it was hard to pick out with the eye test, and then you look at the advanced numbers, and it was like, oh my god, this guy's a calamity. And then it became more obvious. So it'll be interesting to see what he turns his career into.
Well, it also Butler will either push him into a good direction or a bad one. The bad direction would be he can't figure out how to be the third option. He doesn't channel that into defense and athleticism and all the stuff that they would need from him. Like on paper, ideally, he's the perfect third guy,
Sure.
right? Just like run the floor, shoot some threes, and lock people
Never
down.
pass.
That's all we need. Yeah, right. But
Yeah, that's one thing he definitely should do.
Never pass.
I also Teague is a strange guy
Yeah.
to play with.
If by
He's kind of
strange
in a
you mean mediocre?
Well, he's kind of
He's
an
the
acquired
face of the
taste,
average
right?
point guard.
Yeah, he's
He has the ball a lot. Yeah, he's a pretty average
He's the
starting point
face of
guard.
He
the
is
average point
war.
guard.
Right.
He is. He's the replacement play. No.
I don't see him like playing off the ball as Jimmy Butler decides what to do, and then Jeff Teague's just kind of
Yeah.
sadly standing over there, and Wiggins.
There are a lot of chemistry issues to hammer out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you look at their bench. Like the Jamal Crawford thing. Are people watching basketball? This guy's has not been a rotation guy for 2 years. And he gets hot. He'll make a 4-point play at the end of a quarter, and people are like, oh, Jamal Crawford, there he goes. It's like, can't guard anybody. Not a good shooter anymore.
He still,
Doesn't make anyone better.
Yeah.
he still got some 6th man of the year votes this past year.
These people
It's
are
ridiculous.
dumb.
Yeah.
It's like the
that's
people that
awful.
voted Kobe for all defense in like 2012.
If you came to me and said, in 2018-19, do the Timberwolves win 48-49 games? I'd say maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
This season, no.
Right now, there's a Wolves fan listening to this like, you guys have not mentioned Karl Anthony Towns yet.
Well, it's very fair.
And Towns...
He was unbelievable the last 2 months of the
Yep,
season.
Yeah.
And the thing with Towns is like, if you look at his numbers from the last couple months of his rookie season, they were the same as his numbers from the first 40 games of his second season. And then you look at his numbers from the last 40 games of this second year, he's like 28 points per game, like
He was
13 rebounds,
Yeah, he's
2
awesome.
blocks. And if he replicates that heading into this year, maybe they could take a
But
push to that 48
even
and a half.
then, now you still have issues of who gets the ball when.
You're
like
right.
Jimmy Butler gets the ball when. Wiggins does what? How does Wiggins slot into this? how do you get these guys the ball? And I think those are big questions.
They could have ball movement issues this
Yeah,
year, I
they're
think.
gonna-
And I say
A lot
this
of
as
ball
somebody who
stoppers.
likes Jimmy Butler and who's done 2 podcasts with him, and I thought he was a good guy. We haven't seen him in a good chemistry situation yet. I'm not saying it's his fault. I want to see it. Let's see if he can be the leader of a young team, because he couldn't do it last year. Towns is awesome.
Unbelievable.
He's awesome.
And if you put this team in the East, I would say
They could win 50
48 and a half
games.
is conceivable.
Yeah, I would-
Is,
I
he
might
the,
go
is he
over.
the best young player in the league?
So you're saying if I could have anyone 24 and under
Right.
to start my team right now,
Yeah.
I think I would probably pick Towns.
Me too.
Over Giannis, over certainly.
Oh, no, I forgot. Yeah, Giannis. Giannis
How about
first.
over Anthony Davis?
Well, Davis is 25 now, right?
Oh, he
Right,
just turned
yeah.
25?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd go Giannis first, Towns second. And I would go Jason Tatum third. Marco Fultz last. Let's take a break.
Anthony Davis is 24. Yes.
Anthony Davis 24. All right.
even
24,
even though
yeah.
with the injuries, I still take
Anthony
Towns over him.
Davis is 24?
Yeah. I take Towns over him.
Pretty
With
great,
you.
yeah.
I would
take
have said
Towns over him.
25 or 26.
Yeah.
Wow. I'd go Davis, Giannis, Townsend. But Towns is bronze medalist in that conversation. But why? Who would you go, House?
I love Towns.
I do
think
too.
I think he's
You'd go over
incredible.
Giannis, though?
That's really hard for me. I don't know. Yeah,
I thought Giannis.
I'm worried about Giannis's ability. This is why we took the under on Milwaukee. I don't know if he's so new to basketball. Like, what does he know about
He
winning
took a team to the
basketball
playoffs
games?
last
know.
year. Though did Towns
He's
do?
22.
pretty-
Towns was putting up garbage time numbers last year.
No, they put a nice complementary team around Giannis, and his talent is
I think
immeasurable.
I think he's a superior two-way player.
I agree with that. That's true.
The difference between those two guys is Giannis can
Yeah.
lock it down and can protect the rim. Like Giannis might be a center by the time we're done with him,
If
right?
he ever,
And Giannis can play make too.
yeah, he can,
Like
that's
Giannis
what makes
is
him
a
special.
unicorn.
the position of
He's the true unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be in this position of comparing those
No,
two
don't-
because
don't.
I don't want to say
If
bad
Giannis
things
ever
about
gets a
Giannis.
jumper,
I love
it's
him.
over.
That's
2 minutes ago, you're
It's
making a face.
over.
Yeah.
Well, because I think Towns is more polished, and the Towns might be. If I'm building a team,
Right.
That I want that polished.
I think. Would you
aspect.
agree that though Giannis, like the ceiling is, man, if this guy gets a jumper, he dominates the league.
I think the
He
Giannis
could.
ceiling is there's no ceiling. It's like an open stadium.
If
I don't know what his ceiling. Well, you can't put a ceiling on him.
Yeah.
He's
What
like,
did he
yeah.
get taken? 14th, 15th?
15th, I
Yeah.
believe.
If you
Yeah.
redid that draft, does he?
my
What does he
God.
get taken? Like negative 5th?
it was absurd. I did that draft and I've told this story before, but watching those highlights of him and just, I don't understand. Like, none of those GMs should feel bad.
No, they shouldn't. He was
Because
playing like in
Those
the gym in
highlights,
the middle of nowhere.
we were laughing. We were like, are those rims 10 feet? Like, he had no idea. And he seemed like this crazy arm freak. But then he grew 2 inches after he got in the league. And the way he's handled
Yeah.
where he came from to being in America and all the stuff that comes with being an NBA star, it's been, I would say the odds were like 1 in 100.
It's a great story.
He's had no issues at all. And all he does is work at his game and get better.
He's the total package on and off the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we went under for the Bucks. But not because
And under on Minnesota.
Let's do Oklahoma City, then we'll take a break. Oklahoma City, the over on this list is 50.5. We had it at like 52.
We bought it at 52.
I know.
This list
Yeah.
is wrong. This
Well-
list has it at 50.5, and you have to pay $200 to get that
So
price,
let's
which is
say, yeah,
stupid.
so it's wrong. So let's make it 52 for the purposes of this podcast. 52 over under, and I'm still going over.
Me too, without hesitation.
It's just there's no way this team's not 8 wins better than they were last year.
That's only 6 wins better, 7 wins better.
Were they 47?
They won
6 wins
46,
better, yeah.
Yeah.
7 wins
40,
better.
yeah.
47.
47 they
Jason,
won
what do you
last
think?
I will also take the over.
Do you want? Well, hold your
Yeah.
Carmelo thought.
Sure.
We'll go around first. House is going over. KOC seems nervous.
I had over at 50.5 on the list, but I'm going to go under here because I was only a slight over. I think 51 maybe right on the button at 52.
Okay.
I think they could get off to a slow start, and maybe they pick it up towards the end, but I think there could be chemistry issues with Melo and Westbrook early on with moving the ball. That could be problematic.
Two of the biggest
What?
hogs of the league. Do you think could have trouble moving the ball?
I'm wearing my Captain Obvious hat right now.
That seems so far-fetched.
So slow start, but they're going to be really good towards the end of the season.
I think I'm going to go the opposite way, even though I'm taking the over. I think they're going to start well because I think Carmelo is going to be on his best behavior, especially early. He understands the narrative around him. Like he's gonna be like, I'm hoodie Melo, I'm Olympic Melo, I'm out here trying to help these
The
guys.
narrative of Knicks ruiner, Carmelo
That's right.
Anthony.
And
that
then
narrative?
as we get down towards crunch
Yes.
time in the
Round
season,
one, round two. Okay. Yeah.
now all of a sudden as the water dries up in the well, now you start seeing guys be like, where's my shots? Where's my shot? Like, why am I not getting this ball? So I think it's reversed.
It's a very strange personality mix.
It really is.
Because let's be honest, Paul George isn't exactly like the all-time greatest teammate we've ever seen in our lives either. Like he threw C.J. Miles under the bus in the playoffs last year.
He drove the bus over him.
He was making faces. I watched a lot of Pacers games the last 2 years. He's making faces. Like he was playing hard, but just seems like if things aren't going perfect for him,
Yeah.
you can kind of see it. He's one of those guys. You kind of read his face.
Right. He's also
Carmelo's definitely an up and down energy guy.
PG is also the guy who's like, if it's not going well, he's just, well, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, I'll just stand there and shoot threes.
Yeah.
You tell me when I get the ball,
Right.
Russell. And then Russell, who maybe he developed some bad habits last year, shooting 100 times a game
The worst
with the highest usage rate of all time. Everybody's like, no, he'll shut it off. He proved his point. He won the MVP. By the way, I'm going over. Like I'm laying out the case for the under. Like can Russell Westbrook, after what he experienced last year, where basically Russell Westbrook was in it. Let's say he's like a married guy who, like, for 1 year just gets to have sex with whoever he wants. For 1 year, it's like, Russell Westbrook, we're gonna let you do whatever the hell you want to do.
Right.
Oh, you want to buy that car? Buy it. You want to have sex with that girl?
Right.
Do that. You want to have that steak? Go have it. You want to buy another house? Go ahead. You do whatever you want. We want you to win the MVP.
Right.
Do it. Go ahead. And now this year, it's like, hey, Russell, you got to get Carmelo more involved.
Yeah.
You get, how do you shut that off?
I think a underrated story in the NBA from last year is Steven Adams had one of the great opportunities in history when Russ was approaching the triple-double average. He should have gone to Presti and Russ and say, that's it. I'm going to start grabbing these rebounds unless you give me $4 million in a brown paper bag. In a brown paper bag today. I want $4 million in cash today, or I start grabbing these rebounds. And that's it. I really feel like that was a missed opportunity for this guy.
I mean, he's a man.
I think he needs like $10 an hour. He's happy.
He's not a selfish
Yeah, he
dick.
doesn't care
I
about
like-
money.
They already
I like
gave him
Steven
like
Adams.
$100 million
No,
contract.
I want more. I want more. You want this triple-double record? You want me to give up my stats for this triple-double record? I want some cash.
I really like 4 of their 5, like, together. If they can figure out the whole, hey, Carmelo, you're hoodie Olympic Melo. Hey, Paul George, you are the number 2 guy. Hey, Russ, you got to get those dudes involved. There's Steven Adams. All he's going to do is rebound and set picks for you and occasionally do screen and rolls, and that's it.
Super important player for them.
But Roberson, I just don't like him as the 5th guy.
What if it's Pat, though?
He's hurt.
I know,
Yeah.
but
He'll be back eventually. though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. When you watch the Wizards play Patrick Patterson, I like Patrick Patterson.
just as he's a meaningful.
You want him as a crunch time?
He's a
and
professional.
You want him in Golden State in Game 7 with 5 minutes to go? That's your 5th?
You want
Well,
more than Roberson.
Yeah, right. Roberson's 4-on-5 on the
Right.
offensive end.
And also, it's
They
in his
can't
head.
do
It's
that
it's
again.
in his
That's my
head.
point.
Is
You're
this
right.
point.
They can't do that again.
So my question is, they gave Roberson $10 million a year, but they can trade him in December. They gave Patterson like $6 million a year. They can trade him in December. They have a bunch of other contracts they can kind of patch together. Will they be able to get the 5th guy? Now, I'm not even talking for the over-under. I'm just talking about for title possibilities. They cannot win a title with Roberson as their 5th guy. He was like Private Pile in the playoffs. He shot 15% from free throws. The Rockets were just leaving him 10 feet open. He was like he
It was
almost seemed like he was on the
uncomfortable.
bench.
It was
It like he seemed like a
uncomfortable.
bench player had wandered on the court because there's nobody within 8 feet of him, and I just don't see how you run him back.
But look, like they don't need to have him out there at the end of games, though. I mean, they can pull him off the court and play small if Patterson's healthy.
Right.
I mean, you could even
But
put Patterson
ideally,
in the center.
if he can be okay, now you have him and Paul George, and there's like we'll guard everybody.
Yeah.
You guys just do your thing. We got it. And Adams is good too. I think their ceiling makes them. I have to go over. I could see them going like 55 and 27, something
Me
like
too.
that. And also the other thing with Russ, and we saw this last year. Russ is going balls out every night.
Yes.
This
Yep.
is the one team where you don't have to
Yep.
worry about like, that team took 10 games off.
Nope.
He can't take
Yeah.
games off.
Well, and that's the cure to Paul George. He's going to drag Paul George along.
Right. This is either the best or the worst thing that ever could happen to
Right.
Paul George.
That's right.
Yep.
I would say 60% best, 40% he's going to be miserable. 60% he loves it. But Russell has pushed him to another level. He's playing balls to the wall, and Carmelo's over there. And
Wouldn't it be amazing though after signing the biggest contract in like league history if Russell Westbrook came in like looking like Antoine Walker, just like he gained 65 pounds,
just
but he's just
crap.
like,
No, he
anymore."
loves
Like,
wearing
done.
fancy clothes too much.
He didn't get that PRP injection in his knee.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, before the season.
So we're all going over except for KFC.
Yep.
Okay. San Antonio 54.5.
Huh.
12 to 1 win the title. OKC was 12 to win the title as well. Minnesota was 28 to win the title. Forgot to mention that. San Antonio minus 110 to win the Southwest. So are the Houston Rockets. Both of them minus 110 to win that division. Man,
Yeah.
San Antonio lost my brother Jonathan Simmons, Dwayne Dedman. They gained a half a season of Rudy Gay whenever he comes back from his Achilles. I don't know when he comes back. Probably December, January.
Mid-season, I think.
Yeah.
I believe.
Hey, what could go wrong with an aging NBA player who blew out his Achilles? Derek White and Lavernier from OKC last year. That team is not better. Gasol is a year older. The Aldridge, everybody thought they were going to trade him. They tried, couldn't trade him. Parker's a year older. Basically, everybody in this team, on an aging team other than Kawhi, is a year older. And that 54.5, I hate to say it, seems too high. I'm going under.
Rudy Gay has actually been cleared.
Yeah.
Been cleared, yeah.
And Parker's hurt. He's got that quad injury.
Yeah,
too, so
it's-
that's another thing to take in. So Patty Mills starts the
So Parker not back in time for the season.
got a ruptured quad.
Rudy Gay is supposedly back. He was on the Wes
Cleared,
Matthews
yeah.
accelerated treatment cycle.
He's yeah.
Wes
he,
Matthews
he was
Yeah.
scrimmaging
Right.
last month.
He's back, but if there was an Olympics, he wouldn't be able to play in
And
it.
Pop said Tony Parker a month away at least.
I can't in good conscience touch this team unless I know that Kawhi is arriving in superhuman condition. And they told us last week that Kawhi is on an indefinite out status and that the beginning of the season's in jeopardy, or are they already sacrificing games at the beginning of the season?
I don't think we're at that point yet. I think
Okay.
it's just preseason.
I don't like any aspect of that. It is absolutely the dumbest thing in the world to take a San Antonio Spurs under.
I know
And
we
yet
Yeah.
we make fun of each other every
Yeah.
year when we talk about doing it, and now we're about doing
we're
it.
doing it. I'm doing it.
Listen, this is the year where the Patriots are going to give up 500 points and go 10-6. Like
Yeah.
if there's ever a year. Also, I wonder, Popovich getting older, all the stuff going on in the world. He's won 5 rings.
You think he's checked out a little bit?
Nah, I don't think
Just
he's
weary?
checked out. I think he's like my mom. He's at the bottle of wine every night kind of stage of his life.
LaMarcus
just kind of
Aldridge will do
reflecting on
that to
life. Yeah. Just kind of like, I've done it all.
I'm gonna take the soft over. I'll go 55. I don't feel.
The flaccid over.
Yeah, I don't feel. I'm not confident about it. The last time the Spurs.
You want us to fluff you a little bit more?
Yeah,
or no?
sure. Why not?
All right.
Who's- Get somebody out here. The Spurs won 50 games in 2009-10,
Yeah.
and that was the lowest of the last 10 years or so. So I just can't. I bet against them all the time, and then it always comes back to haunt me. I think they figure out a way to stay up there and around 55 wins.
KOC.
Very, very slide over
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
I think this is one of those years where they're in the mid 50s or so,
Yeah.
like they were in 2014-15, they won 55. 2011-12, they won 50. It's one of those years where you're a little bit worried about their aging roster, but I think they'll get the slide over because they always get at least 50, and I think they
So-
have enough talent to bump it over.
Do any of us think they can win 60 games?
Not with this roster.
No.
Only if Kawhi elevates his game
Right.
again.
And
but
and-
that's a question.
And Tony Parker turns the clock back for a significant amount of the season.
And LaMarcus Aldridge figures that out.
Right, yeah.
I can't
yeah.
overstate how much I disliked watching LaMarcus Aldridge in the playoffs last year, and I can't unsee it.
Imagine being Shea Serrano.
Right, poor Shea.
So I think it's more likely they go down than up from that number. Even if they go over, it's going to be by a hair. It's going to be like 55, 56, 57. But I could see them winning 48 games. You know, like I could see the downside to that team just looks much better. Wow. End of an era. I can't believe House and I both go under on the Spurs and don't feel like we want to.
If Kawhi misses any meaningful time at all, they're a 47 or 48 win
Yeah,
team.
out of all the contenders, they are by far the most star dependent on their best guy, I would say. Don't you think?
Which is ironic.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it
they're the
is.
team
Really
in the
is.
past that wasn't at all.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
This is like if
now you
Kawhi
are.
goes out, I don't understand how they would survive for 3
It really
weeks.
is like a Kobe-ish, a pre-Pow Lakers post-Shaq, a Kobe-ish situation with them.
chilling
Yeah.
remark. Let's take a break.
Chilling remark.
We're going to recap our bets in a second. From a gambling standpoint, we're going to remember the 2010s as the decade when live betting took off. And where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on. So here's an idea. Go to mybookie.ag. They've been in this business for years. Their reputation is rock solid. They do 100% cash bonuses. So off the bat, you're making money for doing nothing. They have the fastest payouts, 2 business days. They have in-game live betting, the most rewarding player perks in the business, and an all-new mobile site that makes wagering on the go a breeze. In-game live betting. Lay down some cash. Try to win big today. Join now. MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 100% bonus. Visit mybookie.ag. Use the promo code Bill Simmons to activate the offer. You play, you win, you get paid. All right, guys. 3 teams left. The Rockets, 55.5. There's been some action. Over -130. 16-1 to win the title. -110 to win the Southwest. One thing I'm learning is I kind of like the Rockets to win the Southwest over the Spurs. They added Chris Paul. They did a sneaky PJ Tucker signing.
Yeah.
They added Tariq Black, who I've liked for 3 years and was always hoping the Celtics would sign. KOC, am I alone on Tariq Black?
He's all right.
Okay.
He's
I don't know why I like
It's
him.
nothing
Something
special.
about him. They lost Beverly, Decker, Lou Williams, and Harrell. Crunch time. Looking at Capella, Ariza, James Harden, Chris Paul, and probably Eric Gordon. Maybe PJ Tucker. Maybe Ryan Anderson. They also have Nene. Pretty deep team. Looks like a contender. The question is, can Chris Paul and James Harden ultimately play together and be 2 people that can decide what to do in the last 5 minutes of a very close, intense basketball game that we're probably not going to have to worry about this question until May.
I'm going to take the soft under on this. I just think...
Another flaccid under.
Yeah, I just think, listen, on paper, the talent is undeniable. Chris Paul, as we've said, it's probably he's one of the best point guards ever and one of the best players under 6'4" in history. That said, I think there's a lot of chemistry issues to work out here. Like who gets the ball when? How do they share it? Not only between those two in the backcourt, but between Mike D'Antoni and Chris Paul. Like how does... the D'Antoni system is more of it's a ball movement system. Steve Nash did do a lot of probing in those Suns days. I'm not sure that's
Probing. Good use of probing.
A little probing.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that, House?
When he goes underneath the rim, right, circles back.
And I'm not sure that's not necessarily Chris Paul's style. I'm not sure that works with the personnel they have. I just think there's some questions. I think they win 55 games. I don't think they take a huge step back, but I think that there's going to be things to work out.
House?
I like them for over the 55.5. I think they're like a 57, 58, 59 win team. And the reason I don't think that this coexistence issue is going to be that big a deal because Chris Paul has shown us over the course of his career that he has the capacity to defer. And, over what he kind of fell into in the latter part of his time with the Clippers, and maybe this is why they could never get over the hump, he would kind of defer 3/4 of a game and then be assertive in the fourth quarter. That's the mode that I feel like he kind of fell into. So I think he and Harden have had long heart-to-hearts, a lot of hand-holding, walks down on the beach here, Manhattan Beach here in L.A.
I don't think that's where the heart-to-hearts were.
Well, I'm just creating an image. That's all.
I think it was in a room that had the word champagne in it. But
Yeah, I understand. I wanted to keep it out of the zipper zone for a moment.
there were heart-to-hearts with James Harden then asking, "Can I borrow $200?"
James Harden didn't have to borrow any money.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so you're going over.
I am.
KOC.
Way over. I think they'll win 60.
Woo!
I think they're going to be terrific.
over.
I think Mike D'Antoni kind of put it best the other day during media day. You're going to have 48 minutes of Hall of Fame point guard play. Simple as that. I mean, you can have Harden or Paul on the floor at all times. And then when you have both of them on the floor, Harden can kind of be that guy who plays a little bit more off ball. You look at the way he played in Oklahoma City next to Westbrook and Durant, more slashing, playing off other guys, hitting spot out threes, cutting, and maybe he puts a little bit more effort into the defensive end of the floor.
Here's an interesting question, though. If you have Harden and Chris Paul on the floor at the same time, what if it's actually better if Chris Paul is the spot-up guy and Harden's the dude that's playmaking? Like, what happens then?
It's possible. I mean, Paul's a better spot-up shooter than Harden statistically, but I think Harden is great enough that Paul is like the better playmaking guy more so than he is the better spot-up guy than Harden. I don't know if that makes any sense. I just think like they have way better versatility than last year too.
Sure.
And you mentioned PJ Tucker. Trevor Ariza, a solid defender. They had Luke Mamabute, solid defender. Clint Capella can have a career year with Chris Paul throwing lobs to him and Harden as well. They have a lot of talent on that team.
My two red flags: defense. Chris Paul and James Harden is your backcourt in crunch time. And I'm going against Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Now, I'm not even talking about the over-under. I'm just talking about just the ceiling of this team. I don't think Chris Paul is an elite defender anymore. I know he was. I don't think he can do it for 48 minutes a game anymore. And I definitely don't think he can do it 7 times in a playoff series because he couldn't do it. He couldn't play hard for 6 games in the Utah series. He's old.
Yeah, I mean,
this is year 13 for him. The history of point guards is like you hit this point and you start slipping at least defensively. So James Harden doesn't play defense. Eric Gordon's not a good defensive player. Ryan Anderson's a 0. That's one fear I have, and then the other is what you guys talked about, which is the Harden Paul. How is that going to be weird? I think they're going to, like what you talked about the buying in early and maybe it becomes a problem later.
Right.
They are pretty loaded.
Yeah.
I mean, their bench is going to win games.
Eric Gordon's really good.
There's going to be 2 60-win teams in the league, right? There always is.
The other thing is, like, it's just like D'Antoni said, you can have 48 minutes of Hall of Fame point guard play. Managing Chris Paul's minutes is going to be super important. Like, you saw the way the Clippers started last season when they were like an elite defensive team, and Chris Paul was like, you're like, holy shit, that's right. It's point guard Chris Paul who can like lock dudes down and then fade like over the course of the season. Mike D'Antoni's a guy who likes to play 8 players.
Yeah.
Like for large minutes. Does he alter his rotation some? Does he make it deeper? It's an open question.
They'll have to do that. I mean, James
Well, he's never done it, though.
James Harden was exhausted at the end of that
He's
season.
literally never done it, though. That's the thing about D'Antoni.
Now he has 2 guys who can, though. I mean,
we'll see.
maybe that's the issue. Where he's leaned on one guy, but now he has 2.
I thought this was actually the single hardest over-under for me.
Yeah.
Because I had them right around the somewhere between like 55 and 58. I think it's more likely they become the second 60-win team than they go 52 and 30, But I don't love the Chris Paul James Harden combo. I'm gonna have to talk myself into it. I like your 48 minutes of great point guard. That makes sense to me. Something about I don't know. I went to a lot of Chris Paul games. That dude likes to have the ball. James Harden likes to have the ball all the time. Everybody kind of stands there, and they had a thing going last year with that team. It was like, this is James Harden's team. You guys stand over there. He's gonna find you open shots. Now is Chris Paul just gonna be like, all right, I'll stand over here?
Yeah.
Maybe he will. Maybe he'll embrace it because he's got to do something and he hits second stage. I'm gonna go slight over. I wouldn't bet on it. Golden State 67.5. Over. For the title they are minus 160. For the West they are minus 275. Which is nuts.
Yeah,
3-1 odds. That's like vintage Miami Heat numbers. They added Nick Young, Jordan Bell, Caspi. Come here, dumb Willie. And they lost Ian Clark and James McAdoo. I don't see any way, unless somebody gets hurt. Whoa. Okay, Dumb Willie. Unless somebody gets hurt, I don't see how they don't win 70 games. If the over was 70, I would still consider taking the over. 67.5, I'm just grabbing it. Thank you. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, I think they go over too. I think the only real red flag you have is like, okay, you've talked about this tons of times. Like when a team is really good and has a good culture, you can always add that one crazy guy. So you add JaVale. Now they have Nick Young and JaVale.
Right. Will they hang out together?
Will they hang out together? What does that do? I think their culture is still too strong to really to have it.
I thought you were going to say Durant was the crazy guy. I got worried for a second.
To bring the team down?
I mean, he did. The Twitter thing was
that was troubling. It was truly troubling and very weird. But I take the over too.
It's an over. I mean, you know, you have to. You're not rooting for an injury, so that's basically what the under is. The under is I'm rooting for somebody to get hurt.
Yeah.
The thing to remember with this was when they never really figured out what they were. The Durant thing, it took them a couple months to really integrate it, and by the time the playoffs rolled around, that team knew exactly what they were. When they figured out the Curry Durant thing, and then in the finals, Kerr moves it over down closer to the sideline when they're doing the pick and roll, and I think they're going to be better. I really do. Like, I think that second year of Durant they have a whole other level to go to. What do you think?
Even then in the playoffs, they still don't have a perfect game in the finals.
No, they had a perfect offensive game.
Right. Yeah, but not perfect overall. I think they'll be better. I mean, they're an easy over. They're probably one of my 3 locks. Easy. They're going to be better.
Yeah, I think somebody, either Curry or Durant, would have to get injured for me to worry about that lock. All right, last but not least, America was waiting for it. The Lakers, formerly of Minneapolis, now of Los Angeles.
America was waiting for it. Maybe L.A.
Lonzo Ball, Caldwell Pope, Brooke Lopez, Fokero Kuzma, Andrew Bogut. Always a threat to get into some sort of Twitter scandal.
Him and
all
LA,
those guys are added. They lost D'Angelo Russell, Mozgov, Nick Young, and Black. Crunch time. Brooke Lopez, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Caldwell Pope, Lonzo. Hey, maybe Kuzma's out there. Who knows? Larry Nance Jr. might be out there one day. I like this team. I hate my own guts that I like a Lakers team and can't wait to watch this team. I think 33.5 is too low. I think they're going to be a good home team. I think that crowd is going to, I think they go at least 20 and 22 at home. Maybe 22 and 20. I think they're going to be really tough at home.
I think they retire Kyle Kuzma's jersey by the end of the season.
Oh, maybe
I think that goes into the records.
Maybe in December.
I hate that I'm going to make this lovability argument for both the Knicks and the Lakers. Like, that is so dumb.
Yeah.
But I subscribe to what you are offering up here. I agree with it. The main thing to me, the big factor, I think this roster is trash, and I think Lonzo Ball is going to come
trash.
out. I hate this roster.
Why?
I like Luke Walton, and I think he's the difference. I do. I think they're going to win 34 games because of Luke Walton.
Wow.
Their pick is top 1 protected.
Yeah.
2 through 5, they lose it. 6 and on, they keep it. In a weird way, they actually have an incentive to not tank and to try to win like 36, 37, 38 games and maybe make a playoff run.
Philly, I think, keeps that pick.
That's what I mean.
So
Philly.
Yeah. So there's no incentive to tank at all for them.
No incentive to tank.
I'm a very, very slight over. Okay. I've kind of flip-flopped with this as we've been talking. I just think, I had a slight under for them, but I'm going to go slight over just because I think the upside of the younger guys like Kuzma is playing extremely well. Like we're seeing it now in preseason after he did it during summer league. I think Lonzo Ball, he's probably not going to be spectacular right away as people think, but he can still pass it on. He makes guys better.
Worst
on the
case
floor.
scenario, he's an awesome guy to come off the bench for 20 minutes in your second unit. Yeah. I think Luke Walton is a top 4 perfect coach he could have had.
I agree.
And at least he'll unleash him and tell him just run, go.
Yep.
I'm
defensively not great.
Defensively, they're going to be disaster.
Yeah.
I also take the flaccid over. Ingram has been more aggressive in the preseason. Randall is good. Lonzo, the funny thing about Lonzo is his passing is truly infectious, and I love the fact that he gets credit for the Lakers moving the ball when he's on the bench now. Like you see the ball moving around. That's the effect of Lonzo. He's unselfishness
saw
on this
Coach
team.
Nick's tweet?
Yeah, it's like come on, he's not even playing.
That was
but
great.
like it's like it. That kind of play really is infectious. And like Kuzma, man, Kuzma. I love this guy.
They added 2 guys to this team that nobody's mentioning because it's all Lonzo, Kuzma, Lonzo. But Brook Lopez is still a good basketball player who won games for Brooklyn by himself last
Top
year.
50
And
basketball player.
he can shoot threes now.
Yeah.
He can shoot threes.
And
He does
Caldwell
quite well.
Pope.
Top 50.
I don't love
Brook
Caldwell
Lopez.
Pope, but he's
He's-
a very good overpaid rotation guy.
Yeah, he's for what he is. He is. You know what he is.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice little favor to
Yeah.
Rich Paul and company.
You're right.
Yeah, totally. Well, we predicted it on the podcast. We
Yeah.
said this is how it's going to go because they're trying to get LeBron next year. But I just think nobody's seen Brook Lopez play for 3 years because he's been in purgatory. And people are going to be like, wow, Brook Lopez,
Yeah.
you throw him the ball and he puts it in. And he posts up people. And Brook Lopez is a problem. I'm going over.
Yep.
All right.
Same.
Let's recap. Sacramento 27.5, everybody's over. Phoenix 29, everybody's under. Lakers 33.5, everybody over. Dallas 35.5, everybody under. So we had 4 agreements to start. Memphis 37.5, everybody went under except for KOC
Wow.
wearing a Woj Bomb t-shirt.
Yeah.
That was his biggest Woj Bomb of the podcast. New Orleans 39.5. Emphatic unders from all of us. Utah 41, emphatic overs from all of us. Portland 42.5. Everyone went under except for Jason. LA Clippers 43.5. Joe House, the only one who went under. Denver, most polarizing one, 45.5. I went under, Jason went under, KOC and House went over. Minnesota, under for everybody. Oklahoma City, 52 wins, under for KOC, over for everybody else. San Antonio, 54.5, under for Bill and House, over for Jason and Kevin. Houston, 55.5, under Jason, over everybody else. Everyone went over for Golden State. What are your locks? Jason, go first.
New Orleans under. Minnesota under and Golden State over. Those are my locks.
Minnesota under, Golden State over.
Yeah.
House?
Sacramento over is a lot because I just am going to
That's
have so
so
much
foolish.
fun rooting for Sacramento.
I'm
I
so
love
sad
it.
that you did
De'Aaron
that.
Fox, Rookie of the Year.
Oh my
I'm
God.
thrilled by it. I
That's
can't
definitely not
wait to
happening.
watch. Oh, the retirement home team with the apprentices and the old people.
Yeah.
I like it quite a bit. I'm taking as a lock the under for the Memphis Grizzlies because I believe that they need to break the whole thing down. There is a trade or 2 coming for Memphis, and I am taking as my third over the Golden State Warriors, the best team in the
2
NBA.
Warrior locks. KOC?
First over is Houston, over 55.5.
He loves
I think
that.
I think they win 60.
Okay.
Second one, Utah, over 41. I think they're going to be very, very good. Maybe a 43, 44 win team.
Yeah.
And my third, I'm going to avoid Golden State, even though that's kind of a lock too. Clippers, over 43.5. I'm taking the upside pick with the
KOC.
Clippers.
You're going so well.
I like that.
I have over for Utah, 41. I have over for Golden State, 67.5.
He's quiet. He's
I know,
pondering. He can't find a
see
third.
the wheels turning.
Yeah.
It's like Danny Ainge wondering if he should flip the pick.
I don't really have a third. Oh, I'll go under on Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't very excited about it.
Because there was really 2 that I liked. You know what? I'm switching now. I'm going to go over for OKC. I'm doing 3 overs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's always more fun to root for an over.
Yeah. Well, we shorted
Unless
a
you
couple
wanna
of teams
hate-
before.
Unless you want to hate root
I'm a
against the
hater.
team. And I'm not
I'm a
hate rooting.
hater.
I'm not hate rooting against Memphis. I just think that they need to break the whole thing down.
So I got Utah, OKC, and Golden State for the overs. If you wanted to hear me and House and Jason do the East,
Yeah.
go to the Ringer NBA show. Thanks to Gillette. A Gillette razor blade edge, thinner than a single brain cell. It's a product of many brain cells that work from the thousands of men and women at Gillette. They're always working harder to make your shave better. Now you can get Gillette blades for less at GilletteOnDemand.com. Gillette, a best a man can get. KFC, you shaving yet?
I shaved yesterday.
Nice.
I haven't shaved today.
Beautiful. Thanks to Proper Cloth. Stop wearing shirts that don't fit.
Yesterday was the first time.
Got rid of a couple peach
Did you
fuzz.
use a Gillette?
Of course. Thanks to Proper Cloth. Stop wearing shirts that don't fit. Start wearing custom shirts that fit perfectly because you created them by answering 10 easy questions. Bring Proper Cloth into your life. Proper Cloth guarantees a perfect fit. Propercloth.com BS. Enter gift code BS. Save $20 on your first shirt. Thanks to SeatGeek, $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase on NFL tickets. Use promo code BSNFL. Don't forget about GM Street with Tate Frazier. Don't forget about Achievement Oriented with Jason Concepcion. Shack House and House of Carbs with Joe House. And the Ringer NBA show. Every Tuesday, you and Verno. Maybe a couple more times this year.
Yeah, definitely.
On the Ringer NBA show. And don't forget to listen to our Eastern stuff as well. Thank you, everybody. This was fun. I'm kind of wiped out.
It's great.
Good
I'm
times.
hungry.
I love
really
the
fun
NBA.
one.
Yeah.
Where's T.O. Dzik? I want to go have a cheesoburger.
It's
And
too
the
late.
smoke.
He already had his
We got
at
to
like
feed
9.
house. Thanks for listening, everybody.